If you're diving into Where Winds Meet for the first time, you're probably staring at all those martial arts and weapon options wondering what on earth to pick. The game throws 12 different martial arts and 7 weapon types at you right from the start, and sometimes the same weapon completely changes depending on the martial art you pair it with. It's a cool system, but yeah, it can be a little overwhelming when you're still figuring out which role suits you best. Support, DPS, tank. The game has them all, and each martial art leans toward one of them. So in today's video, we're breaking down the best beginner-friendly weapon and martial arts combos you can grab early in your adventure. No complicated builds, no min-max headaches, just solid setups that actually make the game more fun while you learn the ropes. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to aim for and why these combos feel so good to use. Let's get into it.
I'm very small portion of the audience
Before
is
we
subscribed
start,
to
if
the
you
channel.
enjoy these types of list
Please
videos,
don't forget to subscribe if you
like
like
the
these
video
types
and
of videos.
subscribe. Enjoy watching.
Thanks.
Alright, let's talk about the nameless sword, Bell Strike. This is actually the starter martial art in Where Winds Meet, and honestly, it's one of those rare cases where the starting option doesn't get totally outclassed later. You get it from the very beginning, and right off the bat, it feels strong, it's super versatile, has great mobility, decent damage, and even offers some damage mitigation thanks to its barrier generation. Basically, it's balanced in all the right ways for players just starting their adventure. Now, what really makes Nameless Sword shine is how it handles heavy attacks. Unlike a lot of heavy attacks in other games that are slow and situational, the Bell Strike's heavy attack can act like a ranged attack when fully charged. It hits in a horizontal line, which means you can take out multiple enemies at once or finish off low health targets with style. If you're someone who likes being strategic with positioning, this attack gives you that extra layer of control over the battlefield. When it comes to pairing it with weapons, you've got some solid options. The Infernal Twin Blades work really well if you want a high mobility, parry-focused bruiser build. It's perfect for juggling multiple enemies or focusing down a single target with fast, punishing attacks. It really complements the Nameless Sword's natural mobility, letting you move in and out of fights without taking too much damage. If you're leaning more toward an off-tank setup, the Nameless Spear is a fantastic pick. It pairs beautifully with the defensive potential of the Nameless Sword. You can switch into a defensive stance quickly, soak up some hits, and still dish out consistent damage to enemies around you. This combination gives you a really satisfying balance between staying alive and controlling the fight. Another fun option is the Vernal Umbrella, which is great if you want a hybrid approach. This setup mixes melee and range damage, which makes it super versatile for both player versus environment and player versus player situations. You can keep enemies at bay with ranged attacks and then move in for some melee bursts, making it feel dynamic and flexible. At the end of the day, Nameless Sword Bell Strike is one of those martial arts you'll actually want to invest in rather than just ditch for something flashier. Sure, the strategic sword looks cool, but it's tricky to use and doesn't really combine as well with other martial arts. The Nameless Sword gives you power, versatility, and ease of use all in one package. For anyone serious about getting a strong start in Where Winds Meet, this longsword style is definitely the way to go. Let's dive into the Vernal Umbrella, Skillbind. This is one of those weapon and martial arts combos in Where Winds Meet that just feels fun to play. Right off the bat, it gives you a ton of mobility, decent damage, and solid crowd control, which makes it great for both new players and seasoned adventurers. Unlike some other setups, it really shines in situations where you're facing multiple enemies and need to keep them at a distance. One of the coolest things about Vernal Umbrella is its hidden passive, which accumulates a resource called Blossoms. Once you charge enough Blossoms, you can use them to unleash special skills with your charged attack. This gives the combat a layer of strategy because you're not just spamming attacks, you're thinking about timing and positioning to maximize the effect of those special moves. The Spring Sorrow skill is a fantastic tool for crowd control. It can immobilize non-boss enemies or even other players, and it can briefly slow down bosses. That makes it incredibly useful when you're trying to manage a chaotic battlefield or set up a big combo. It's the kind of skill that rewards careful planning and smart timing. On the flip side, the Spring Away attack is all about mobility. It lets you reposition quickly, gain some height, and even buy a moment of respite in the middle of a fight. You can use it with mystic arts like Cloud Steps or Leaping Frog to make yourself even harder to catch. Mobility plus ranged attacks equals a lot of flexibility in any encounter. When it comes to weapon pairings, Vernal Umbrella works really well with both the Inkwell Fan and the Nameless Sword. The Inkwell Fan is probably the optimal choice because it pairs perfectly with the Blossom Barrage and Flying Gourd's inner paths. It enhances your martial arts and allows you to chain combos seamlessly, making you a nightmare for enemies to deal with. Overall, the Vernal Umbrella was Skillbind, a Jade, is one of those combos that just clicks. It gives you mobility, range damage, and crowd control, all while keeping combat dynamic and fun. Whether you're exploring, farming mobs, or jumping into player versus player, investing time in mastering this martial art is definitely worth it. If you like feeling agile and in control of the battlefield, this is one you don't want to miss. Alright, let's talk about the Soulshade Umbrella, Skillbind. This one is a bit different from your usual damage-heavy martial arts because it leans into support. Think of it as the healing and buffing umbrella combo in Where Winds Meet. You still get attacks, but the main draw is survivability, healing, and sustain. Basically, keeping yourself and your team alive while still contributing to fights. What makes it interesting is the way it balances buffs and attacks. Using this martial art, you can raise your own attributes or those of your allies, giving everyone a noticeable edge in battle. The trade-off is that you'll sacrifice some raw stopping power and damage output, but the buffs more than make up for it in tougher fights where staying alive matters more than a flashy kill. Its area of effect attacks are also really clever. They extend the duration of the exhausted status on enemies, which basically gives you a bigger window to land hits. Whether you're focusing on bosses or other players, this little trick can make a huge difference, letting you time your combos and follow-ups perfectly. The crown jewel of this martial art is Echoes of 1,000 Plants. This skill deploys a healing area of effect, instantly switching you to your secondary weapon. That means constant recovery while still giving you the option to go on the offensive. It's like having your cake and eating it too. You heal, you buff, and you can still swing back into attacks without losing momentum. Pairing it with the Panacea Fan is a no-brainer. The fan lets you regain resources for your buff skills, so you're not constantly running out of fuel mid-fight. Plus, it deals solid damage while supporting your team, making it a perfect complement to Soulshade Umbrella. This combo is all about sustainable power, helping your team stay strong while you maintain consistent output. At the end of the day, the Soulshade Umbrella, Skillbind, Deluge is a fantastic choice if you enjoy playing a support role without feeling useless in combat. It keeps fights under control, heals when needed, and lets you contribute meaningfully to damage and strategy. For anyone wanting to combine survivability and utility with solid martial arts, this is definitely a go-to choice. Let's dive into the Nameless Spear, Bellstrike. This one is a favorite for players who enjoy being tanky while still dishing out solid damage. Right from the start, you can get your hands on it, and it's already strong enough to carry you through early and mid-game. Its main strengths are projectile deflection, great area of effect coverage, and decent speed for a heavy weapon, basically a dream for anyone wanting to control the battlefield. One of the standout features of the Nameless Spear is how it interacts with the special status called Unrivaled. As you fight, you generate a resource that, once full, triggers this status. While active, your charge attack spins at incredible speed, consumes less endurance, and deflects incoming projectiles. On top of that, it blocks all incoming damage, effectively turning you into a whirlwind of unstoppable fury. It's insanely satisfying to pull off, especially against waves of enemies. Even outside of the Unrivaled status, the Nameless Spear is versatile. It has a basic light combo with 4 swings and a heavy 3-strike pronged attack. This allows you to switch quickly between offense and defense depending on the situation. It's a martial art that rewards timing and positioning, letting you feel like you're truly in control of the fight. Pairing it with the Nameless Sword is a natural choice. The sword adds mobility and a bit more versatility to your build, letting you cover gaps in range and speed. It balances out the spear's tanky, defensive nature, giving you more options whether you're handling groups of mobs or focusing on a single tough enemy. The Strategic Sword is another solid pairing. While a bit trickier to use, it complements the Nameless Spear by offering single target burst potential and extra control in tight situations. Together, they let you switch between tanky defense and focused offense seamlessly, which makes this combo feel powerful and dynamic. Overall, the Nameless Spear, Bellstrike, Splendor, is perfect for players who like to dominate fights from a tanky frontline position while still being effective at damage. Its combination of projectile deflection, area of effect control, and unrivaled status makes it a must-try martial art in Where Winds Meet. For anyone building a tank-focused setup with strong defensive tools, this one should definitely be on your radar. Alright, let's talk about the Infernal Twin Blades, Bamboo Cut. This martial art is all about speed, combos, and raw mobility. From the moment you start using it, you'll notice how fast and fluid everything feels. It's perfect for players who like to stay on the move, dodge attacks, and overwhelm enemies before they even have a chance to react. What really makes Infernal Twin Blades stand out are its unique attacks. You've got a forward spiral lunge that pushes enemies aside while dealing damage, which is fantastic for controlling space in a fight. Then there's the single target blade throw that bounces and spirals around the enemy, hitting multiple times. These moves make the combo flow feel dynamic and visually satisfying while keeping damage high. The charge attack, Flame Lash, introduces something even crazier, a rage mode. When activated, it consumes Karmic Flame, represented by that glowing icon at the bottom right of the screen. In rage mode, every hit has increased critical damage, but it also burns through your health quickly. It's high risk, high reward gameplay, and it's incredibly fun when you time it right. For weapon pairings, the Nameless Sword works beautifully. The fluid weapon swap animations let you chain attacks seamlessly, keeping your combos smooth and uninterrupted. It's all about staying mobile, maintaining pressure, and never letting enemies catch a break. The Strategic Sword is another solid choice, especially if you want more area of effect coverage for player versus environment fights. It balances out the Twin Blade's single target burst and mobility by giving you ways to handle groups of enemies efficiently. On the other hand, Mortal Rope Dart, while technically an option, just doesn't bring enough damage and leaves you exposed, so it's usually not worth the investment. All in all, the Infernal Twin Blades, Bamboo Cut, Wind is a blast to play if you enjoy fast-paced combat with deadly combos and high-risk, high-reward mechanics. Its mobility, devastating light attacks, and rage mode make it one of the most exciting martial arts in Where Winds Meet. For anyone looking to dominate fights with style and speed, this is a must-try. Let's dive into the Stormbreaker Spear, Stone Split. This martial art is built for players who want to be tanky while still dishing out some serious damage. From the start, it gives you decent area of effect attacks, powerful single target blasts, and solid mitigation. Basically, it's perfect for anyone who likes holding the front line and keeping enemies focused on them. The core of this spear martial art is accumulating fighting spirit. As you attack, you build up this resource, which empowers your abilities and adds extra mitigation. It's a nice way to stay defensive while still dealing respectable damage. The more you engage, the stronger and harder to take down you become. One of the standout skills is Storm Roar, which acts as a taunt. This skill is excellent for aggro management because it keeps bosses and strong enemies focused on you longer than most other tank martial arts. It's especially useful in group content or when facing multiple tough opponents. Thundershock is the main damage-dealing move for Stormbreaker Spear. It consumes the accumulated fighting spirit to unleash a combo that knocks back enemies. This skill works really well in player versus player situations like bounty hunting, as it can disrupt opponents while dealing solid damage. Pairing Stormbreaker Spear with Nameless Spear is an obvious choice. Both are spear martial arts, so they complement each other nicely, letting you maintain a defensive stance while still switching to offense when needed. Nameless Sword also works well for a more balanced approach, giving you a mix of mobility, offense, and defense. Overall, Stormbreaker Spear, Stone Split, Might is a solid pick for tank-focused players who want control over the battlefield. With fighting spirit, taunt skills, and powerful single-target attacks, it's a versatile martial art that can hold its own in both player versus environment and player versus player encounters. For anyone who enjoys leading the charge and keeping enemies in check, this one is definitely worth trying. The video ends here. See you in another video. Don't forget to subscribe.